Talking with the Experts.
Welcome to Talking with the Experts, where we believe that success is a journey, and every journey is easier with help from friends. That's why we bring you top-notch experts and real business heroes eager to share their lessons from the road to success. We delve into new topics each week: effective marketing strategies, innovative problem solving, financial planning, and team building. We tackle everything you need to know to grow your business and keep it thriving. Whether you dream about launching your first startup or are a business veteran looking to shake things up, we've got you covered. With each episode, you'll gain knowledge, boost your confidence, and be inspired to take action. So, grab a coffee, make yourself comfortable, and join our exciting journey. You're not alone in this. We're here, guiding you, cheering for you, and celebrating each milestone. Let's turn your business dreams into reality, starting today. Here is your host, Rose Davidson.
Talking with the Experts.
Meet Jono Hart, the pub whisperer, as he shares his passion for training publicans in mental health support in episode 493.
Right. Well, it started back in 2017, and my family and I hopped in a car with a caravan at the back, and we started to travel around Australia. We got up to Cooper Pedy, and I thought this underground pub is an interesting one. Maybe I could start filming the pubs. So went and got myself a gimbal, went to Alice Springs, and there at the heart of Alice Springs was a pub, and Bojangles Saloon was where we filmed the first one. And it was a great little interview. We had an opportunity to do a walk through the pub, and yeah, it captured the essence of the pub, I felt. And so I thought, well, I'm going to do some more of these on the travel. And
Talking with the Experts.
Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. I'm your host, Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com. Talking with the Experts is all about business by business owners for business owners. You can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. Now, I just want to know, have you heard about the Pub Whisperer and the great Aussie pubs? My goodness, you will after this, because it's absolutely an amazing platform for assisting publicans and their bar staff in getting trained with mental health support, so that they can help their clients. Now, my next guest, Jonathan Hart, and we all call him Jono, is a passionate multipreneur. He's a former award-winning print journalist and a talkback radio announcer. In 2011, Jono branched out into business with launching the Eco Party Box. It was Australia's first Eco Party store, which helped pave the way for legislation change on disposable plastics in Australia. Well done, Jono. Today, he is known as the original pub whisperer and runs the website Great Aussie Pubs, which profiles some of the country's greatest pubs. And I've visited a few pubs in my time, and I'm going to go and check out his list. He's a mental health survivor, and in 2020, he began creating material for pubs to celebrate community and help support people's mental health while the limitations of the pandemic was in full swing. So he's done a really great job. Now he is in collaboration to create suicide prevention training for bar and gaming staff across Australia. Jono, it is such a pleasure to have you on Talking with the Experts. Thank you for joining me today.
oh, thanks, thank you, Rose. Thanks for the great intro, and it's great catching up with you again. You know, we've caught up outside of here before, and I'm really excited to be here. So thanks so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. Now, tell me a little bit about how you became the Pub Whisperer and, you know, the Great Aussie Pubs initiative.
Right. Well, it started back in 2017, and my family and I hopped in a car with a caravan at the back, and we started to travel around Australia. We got up to Cooper Pedy, and I thought this underground pub is an interesting one. Maybe I could start filming the pubs. So went and got myself a gimbal, went to Alice Springs, and there at the heart of Alice Springs was a pub, and Bojangles Saloon was where we filmed the first one. And it was a great little interview. We had an opportunity to do a walk through the pub, and yeah, it captured the essence of the pub, I felt. And so I thought, well, I'm going to do some more of these on the travel. And I went around to about 30 odd. We went up Northern Territory. We went over to Queensland. There was New South Wales. We did get to Victoria and then back to South Australia. We missed out on WA. No, we'll hopefully get over there very soon. But we got back and we created a website called greataussiepubs.com.au. And during the trek, I did actually upload a few to social media, and they got some really good hits. So I knew I was onto something. And then in 2020, the pandemic hit, and I thought, well, you can't drink standing up. You can't dance in pubs. This is going to affect people's mental health. And I've had my mental health battles over the years, and I thought, well, maybe I can do something about that. I created a suicide prevention checklist for publicans, which is on the Great Aussie Pubs website. It's a free download. Any publicans listening might want to download it. And then I created a Pub Supporting People Day. And the Pub Supporting People Day was about pushing tables together, creating community during the pandemic, cheating the rules a little bit, but it was all about finding out about the general public in the community and celebrating them, celebrating the bar staff and the publicans that celebrate the patrons that create community and do it in a really conscious way and look after their patrons' mental health. And one of those.
I remember that launch. I remember watching that launch. It was amazing.
Yeah. Well, we had a couple of events. The Old Bush Inn in Wollonga, South Australia was one of them. And then over to the Tumbarumba Hotel, where I shot a little pilot on my iPhone with my son. And that was a great weekend we had with Greg and Sue there at the Tumbarumba Hotel. They treated us, but we produced a great little video, which was really showcasing what the town was all about. And that's what I'm passionate about. Passionate about helping pub owners, really look after their community, because the pubs are the hubs, and we all need a bit of community now. Even in the city, we lose track of that, and going out to a Great Aussie pub can often remind ourselves of what community is all about. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've been to a lot of outback, not outback ones, but country pubs where the locals go and congregate and have a great time, and maybe sometimes not so great a time. But but during times of crisis, pubs are usually the meeting place and the hive of activity for when someone needs some help. They'll often go to a pub first, where the local publican will either donate goods or accommodation or food or whatever, just to keep like the fireys going in times of bushfires, or if there's a flood or whatever, they might give up some of their rooms for people that are really, really desperate. So country pubs in Australia are renowned for their community spirit, and I think a lot of people that go to the pub often suffer from mental health challenges because of most country pubs are around farming and agricultural places, and if they're having a bit of a downturn because there's a flood or a
drought.
A drought, thank you. Yes, that's the word I was thinking of. The pub's the first place they'll go to drown their sorrows, and it's often good for I think publicans to have this mental health training so that they know when people are feeling a bit more challenged than normal.
Yeah, that's it. And that's where the pub can be a great place for community. But then again, it can also be a great place to escape, and that escape can become an addiction. And then when it becomes an addiction, you're not wanting to face your problems, or, people just want to push them aside. And that's when, we've got that old saying, she'll be right, mate. But we're wanting to change that vernacular around and, ask, are you all right, mate? So that, it's about just as much as we're filming the pubs and celebrating the pubs. We're with a bit more knowledge around what helps with mental health. We're doing our best to change that vernacular so people, can feel that they can open up. And sometimes that is difficult, especially in a country town, because people talk. So as part of being a pub whisperer, you've got to have a tricky conversation. So a tricky conversation stands for trusted, respected, integrity, confidentiality, kindness, and your good self. So that confidentiality side of it is really important when you're a pub whisperer. And we're hoping that we would just love to see that attitude really blossom in any pub, really, in Australia, wherever it might be,
Yeah,
So,
and quite often, city pubs, you don't really get to meet, you don't get to meet the publican face to face, and quite often it's just bar staff around the place, but they get to know their regulars, and this type of training will be excellent for them because, because of the regulars that attend the pub or the whatever it is it happens to be, they can gauge whether this person's, being challenged or addicted or all of those things, and your checklist on the website, and we'll touch on that towards the end. But I think that would be a really great thing for them to learn about and to use, so that they're more equipped to deal with those types of things like addiction and mental health.
yeah, well, the little you just mentioned it there, the checklist rather. That was really a starting point for us. The training itself is a lot more comprehensive. It allows people to know what to say in case of someone's at risk, get them to a place of safety so that they are not going home that night with the thoughts of suicide in their head, and giving people the opportunity to spark a quiet conversation, to prevent a silent death, really. It's about doing that, but we also want to create awareness around the pub whisperer name so that you've got Ask Ange. You've heard that? Have you heard of the Ask Ange campaign?
No, I haven't, Jono, sorry.
Yeah, the Ask Ange campaign, though, is about women who feel at risk can go up to the bar and say, "Oh, is Ange here? I've got to speak to Ange. Can you make a
Oh,
call to
yeah, I've
Ange?"
heard of the Angel. I'll have an Angel cocktail, and I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, it might be the same thing. So, the whole idea is getting people that might feel at risk, if they're going to the pub, they can ask the bar staff, "Are you a pub whisperer? I need to have a chat." Now, it might not be a 30-minute chat because publicans want their bar staff working, and fair enough. But it might be that pub owner, if they can grant the bar staff 5 minutes, 10 minutes to sit down, have a chat, get them to safety, get them to a helpline, and continue the conversation at home or wherever it might be, and just show a bit more compassion. That's really what it's about. It's about empathy and kindness and all those good values that we hold so dear, but being brought into I guess, not every country pub's a corporate sort of pub, but it may be that even in the cities where there are pubs that have multiple, the pub owners have multiple pubs and treat it very business-like, that they can then, show that compassion to their patrons.
Yeah, no, good point. Good point. And so, what does the training encompass? What can people expect when they do the training?
Well, it's not out just yet, so we are completing that at the moment. I can't tell you too much about it, but I've got it on a nice big whiteboard right to my left here. It's all been mapped out. I've got a business partner that is a pro at writing LMSs, which are learning modules, and some of the stuff that he's written in the past has been fantastic. So got full confidence in us getting this project up and off the ground. But I can tell you that we do have some little catchphrases that are going to be sprinkled throughout. So it is an SOS situation when somebody is suffering, and that stands for support over suicide. So part of our program is going to be called Support Over Suicide. When they do the course, they'll become pub whisperer, and they can then take that to any pub around Australia if they do wish to travel, or that pub itself can proudly boast we're a pub whisperer pub. So when the pubs are getting on board, then they're proudly showing that, yeah, we're doing something about mental health. We're supporting people that may be considering suicide, because quite frankly, it's something that's been missing. It's something that's been missing from pubs for some time. When you consider the statistics, I mean, there's a study that's out there at the moment. It's an international study, but it found up to 69% of people who suicide have alcohol in their system, and that's so pubs have been, in a way, let off the hook to have a duty of care to look after their staff. Secondly, with the course, we've got our little saying, which is providing quiet conversations, preventing silent deaths. I mentioned it before, and really, it's being able to have the confidence to know what signs to identify when somebody is considering suicide, and having the guts to say, hey, mate, you're not considering suicide, are you? It's not an out of the blue question. You've got to do a little bit of groundwork to get there, but the question's got to be asked. And one of the myths around mental health is that you can, kind of like Inception, you can plant a thought in somebody's mind, and that will make them consider suicide. But that's been proven to be not true. So if somebody is genuinely going through suicide, then they very well may say, yeah, I am thinking about it. But if somebody's not, well, it's not going to be the case that they're going to go, oh, what a great idea, No,
I don't think so. I don't think it's one of those things can be implanted in someone's brain that you're either going to do it or you're not, or you're thinking about it or you're not. I don't think people say that, if you mention it, that it'll give fuel to the fire. I don't really think that's true either. So, I think it's just a bit of a misnomer. Jono, so you're getting this into country pubs and to corporate pubs?
Yeah, every pub in Australia, we're hoping.
Right, and so when do you plan on launching your course? 3
months from now is the goal. So
yeah. Oh, excellent! Yeah. That sounds great. And where can we find the Great Aussie Pub website?
So we've got actually 2 websites:
yep.
greataussiepubs.com.au and thepubwhisperer.com.
Right. Good-o. So head on over to those, and what can they expect to find on either of those websites, Jono?
So the Great Aussie Pubs website's got around 33 pubs that have become iconic pubs from the initial travel around Australia. It's got write-ups, it's got photos, it's got walkthroughs of the pubs. It's got information on suicide prevention. It's got the suicide prevention checklist on there. It's got the ADAPT mental health resource that I wrote some years ago. Just spiritual knowledge that I gained from reading self-help books that I thought every man needs to know, especially if he's doing it tough. And yeah, these are my own musings. So it's not that isn't an accredited course, but that is just some writings that I discovered. Then the pubwhisperer.com has got the national numbers, so that anyone wanting to or needing to call a national helpline can go to there. We'll have links on the website to do the training, but at the moment it's pretty basic at the moment. We will be putting up a list of Pub Whisperer friendly pubs on there, as well as on the Great Aussie Pubs website. And yeah, creating a community. It's really about creating community, and it's exciting to think that the pub owners that we have spoken to have got behind it, and they've said, yeah, it's a great idea. We need to do it. And it is showing that they care. When you think about the other stats, which are to do with, I don't want to say taking advantage of, but there is a situation where people do gamble a lot, and the stats on gambling is that for every 10 people that suicide, one of them is, or every 9 people that suicide, one of them is or does have gambling addiction. So that's something that's being falling through the cracks, and we need to sort all of that out, really. And we my business partner and I, we really do want this to get out there and be embraced. And look, it's all a bit serious. I do have a poem. You want a poem?
Oh, yes, you've got the greatest poems, John. Go on. Off you go.
Do you? How long have we got?
Oh, as long as you like.
All right. Okay, so this is called The Day the Pub Whisperer Came to Town. It was a stormy night in the outback that word had gathered round that someone known from sea to shore had newly arrived in town. Gathered in the town's quaint pub, the front door blew open wide, and there stood in the doorway was the proof that he'd arrived. He strode to the bar, his eyes agleam, and to the bartender he said, "An orange juice, please." He smiled and winked. "A beer might go to my head." He said, "I'm Jono, the pub whisperer," and his name was known to them all, for they'd seen him on the TV and internet. But in real life, he wasn't quite as tall. He stood at the bar and looked around at the people staring back. "G'day, folks," he said politely. "I've just been on that bumpy track. I nearly got bogged on that muddy road. Now the storm has passed. Was hoping someone here could cheer me up." He paused. They were all aghast. Strangers weren't always so open. A tough exterior was usually the norm. But Jono didn't really care. A smile meant he was in good form. The townfolk all just looked at him until Pete the butcher spoke up. "Hey mate, why are you so happy?" he quizzed. "Did you and your missus just break up?" A hearty laugh erupted throughout as Jono paused meekly, then looked into Pete's eyes and said, "Well, aren't you just bloody cheeky?" As a matter of fact, I'm here to make sure no one's in pain tonight. I'm the pub whisperer, and that means I'm here to listen, not get in a fight. Everyone makes mistakes, it's true, and everyone has a story to tell. I'm here to provide a confidential ear to help anyone going through hell. The crowd sat still, no one moved. They didn't know what to think about the man who seemed to care, and he didn't care. He didn't even want to drink. I do care. "Suicide," exclaimed Jono, "is on the rise, and I'm pretty sure I know how we can beat it. I believe the answer lies in each of us to rise on up and meet it." With a flash, he pulled out from his jacket coat a pad of paper and a pen. "Here," he said to the crowd before him, "I want you to try and be caring men. It's true, no one has dared me to do it, but I'll do it all the same. Take this pen and paper now and write something in your mate's name. Tell your mate something you like about him. Make it big and make it bold. Then once you've finished, give it to him. Let's do these things before we get too old. Then once that's done, give this pen to someone else." As Jono handed out the paper, "We need to spend a lot of time here. We spend a lot of time here feeling down. It's better to care than be a hater." The barman had been quiet for all this time, but Jono called over to him, then pointed to a man in the corner and said, "His future's looking quite grim. There's no amount of niceness that can change his cold demeanour. And the way he's been talking lately, I don't think he can get much meaner. He's been talking about ending it all for quite some time, you know. He needs someone new to listen to him. Can you help him, or is it a no-go?" The pub whisperer looked across the mob and walked over to the man. He asked, "Are you okay, my friend? I'm here to listen, if I can. It may be a tricky conversation, but that stands for something of wealth. Trust, respect, integrity, confidentiality, kindness, and your good self." The man looked up and broke a smile. Thank you, he said in a low tone. An hour went by, friendship was struck. Now it was time to get him on the phone. There was a special number available that people could call when doing it tough to make them feel better and a sign of hope and keep them from feeling rough. The number was dialed and old mate got to safety. No chance of going tonight. And as the pub whisperer turned to leave the pub, the bartender said, "You're all right. I'd like to know how you've helped our mate from going from angry to peaceful and calm." The pub whisperer rolled up his sleeve and flexed his skinny arm. "We may grow muscles by lifting weights," he said, "but we grow powerful by lifting each other. We've all got issues, but we listen without judgment. And remember that these issues stem from our father and mother. The pain we feel is passed down through generations. But with him, I believe the cycle will end. If he connects with nature and heals his trauma, he can get himself back on the mend. If you want to learn how I do what I do, I'm happy to train you, my friend. But remember to keep things confidential. You're trusted, so don't let that end. Gossip can be a dangerous thing. Maybe that's why your friend hasn't spoken. So remember, it's not, she'll be right. It's, are you all right?" And the barman looked like he'd just been woken. We need to care for each other in the pub. It's the hub. It's where community meet. Friends get together. We laugh, we dance, we sing, we drink, we eat. But the stats are way up for suicide now, and the pub can be a place to escape. But drinking can spark some dangerous thoughts in beer, spirits, and fermented grape. It's simple. Support over suicide. It's where healing can begin. A quiet conversation prevents a silent death, and he stared back with a great big grin. "I'll come back tomorrow and I'll train you up so I don't need to come back again. You'll know what to say when someone's in distress, and my compassion is what's needed in us men. For the ladies too, I won't discriminate, but us blokes are doing it hard. We should try and be less judgmental and start in our own backyard." Pub whisperer, support over suicide, writing a quiet conversation, and we're preventing silent deaths.
Well
Thanks, Rose.
done. Love that. That was wonderful, Jono. Thank you for sharing. It was terrific.
Thanks.
So if people want to get in touch with the Pub Whisperer, where do they find you?
Well, we've got all the details are on the website, thepubwhisperer.com, or you can get me through greataussiepubs.com.au. And just get in touch. There's an email address on there. That's the best way at the moment. And always checking the emails, watching what comes through to me. So I'll be on to that. Yep.
Good-o. Jono, if you were to give some words of wisdom to anyone about anything, what would that be?
I think it'll come down to blokes that are doing it hard, they're doing it tough, and that advice is that as long as you've got someone that you trust, might be a mate, might be somebody at the end of the phone from a helpline. There's somebody that you can talk to and open up to and tell them about how you're feeling. Like they say, a problem shared is a problem halved. And it goes a long way. I know that it's helped me in the past as well.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very, very true. And because men don't often share their feelings, they're not known for it. It's just our society has bred men to be closed and distant, I guess. It would be two of the words I would use. Jono, it's been a great pleasure to learn about the Great Aussie Pubs and your training, and you, the Pub Whisperer. Because we've known each other for a while now, so I was there at the inception. So
You were. And I was. Sorry. All right. So when I finished the Adapt Men's Health resource, I needed an editor for it, and I chose Rose. And Rose sent it back, all edited up. But the logo, which was an Aussie map logo with the words Great Aussie Pubs in the middle of it, came back to me with an Akubra hat on. So it was since that moment that I thought, well, I'll don the hat and see how it goes. And it's kind of evolved from there. So Rose, you were kind of the inspiration.
Isn't it? No, you were my inspiration. I got the hat because of you.
You're right. True. Yeah.
Never mind. We'll have a mutual admiration society about how it started.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Jono. It's been a pleasure, and I'll be in touch really soon.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, Rose.
You've been listening to Talking with the Experts, hosted by Rose Davidson. Make sure you have a look at our back catalogue over at talkingwiththeexperts.com. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on any episode. We look forward to your company next time. Talking with the Experts.